It was a cool autumn morning when Clara stood at her front door, looking out at the empty street. At 65, her energy wasn't what it used to be. She had spent the last few years watching the world from her window, thinking about all the things she could no longer do. Walking up and down the stairs had become a challenge, and getting out of bed every morning felt like a struggle. The idea of starting something new seemed impossible. But something inside her told her that maybe, just maybe, today could be different. It started when she read an article about a woman in her 80s who had defied the odds and kept a daily walking habit well into her old age. The story struck Clara deeply, as it made her think, why couldn't I be like that? Why couldn't I find the strength to get moving again? She had always been active in her younger years, walking, swimming, and even playing tennis. But as time passed and life changed, those habits faded. Her body had slowed down, and so had her mindset. But something about that article sparked a flicker of hope within her. She closed her eyes for a moment and made a decision. She was going to take the first step, literally. No matter how small, no matter how difficult, she would start by walking again. Clara slipped into her sneakers, laced them up slowly, and stepped outside. Her heart raced a little, and she felt a bit self-conscious at first. The neighborhood was quiet, the early morning stillness adding to her sense of uncertainty. But then, she took a deep breath and began walking at a steady pace. Just 5 minutes. That was all she committed to for the first day. At first, Clara's walks were short and slow. She would make it around the block, her legs aching and her breath shallow. But with each step, a sense of accomplishment began to take root. The first day was the hardest. But when she returned home, she felt a small surge of pride. I did it, she thought. The next day, Clara took the same route, but this time she managed to walk a bit farther. Her legs didn't ache quite as much, and the shortness of breath didn't last as long. With each passing day, she gradually increased her distance and began to feel stronger. What she didn't expect was how much her mindset started to shift. As she walked, she noticed the world around her in a way she hadn't in years. The way the sunlight filtered through the trees, the sounds of children laughing in the distance, the gentle sway of leaves in the breeze. It was as if the world was coming alive again, and so was she. After a week, Clara felt a sense of pride she hadn't experienced in a long time. It wasn't just the physical change, but the mental transformation that amazed her. She felt empowered, in control. She was doing something for herself, and it felt good. Her walks became part of her daily routine. Each day she would put on her sneakers, step outside, and let the rhythm of her steps clear her mind. She started to notice the benefits: better sleep, improved mood, and a stronger sense of connection to the world around her. Clara's newfound energy didn't go unnoticed. Her neighbor, Anne, who was in her late 50s, had always admired Clara's strength and grace. One morning, Anne saw Clara walking through the neighborhood and couldn't help but stop her. "Clara, you've been walking every day. I've noticed a difference in you." Clara smiled, feeling a sense of pride and humility all at once. "It's been a little over a month now. I started with just 5 minutes a day, and now I'm up to 30. It's amazing how something so simple can make such a big difference." Anne looked at Clara with admiration. "I've been thinking about starting to walk again, but I keep telling myself I'm too old, or it's too late for me." Clara laughed softly, shaking her head. "It's never too late. Start small. Just take that first step. And you'll see, once you do, you'll want to keep going." Anne hesitated, but Clara's words stayed with her. The next day, Anne decided to give it a try. She walked around her own block, starting with just 5 minutes. By the end of the week, she was up to 15. And like Clara, she started to notice changes, not just in her body, but in her outlook on life. Her energy was up, her sleep had improved, and she felt less stressed. It didn't take long before the neighborhood began to notice. A few of Clara's friends, inspired by her commitment, started to walk too. They began joining Clara for walks in the mornings, and soon their walks became more than just exercise. They became a way to connect, laugh, and share stories. It was a simple, healthy habit that brought people together, and it transformed not only their bodies but their relationships. A few months into her walking routine, Clara couldn't believe how much had changed. Her doctor was amazed at the progress she had made. "You're healthier than you've been in years, Clara," he said with a smile. "Your blood pressure is lower, your cholesterol has improved, and you're walking with more ease than I've seen in a long time." But the most remarkable change was the way Clara felt inside. She had rediscovered a part of herself she thought was long gone. The simple act of walking, combined with the discipline of consistency, had brought her back to life. It was as if her body had remembered what it was capable of, and her mind had started to believe it again. One afternoon, as Clara sat on her porch watching the sunset, she realized that this small habit, something so simple, yet so powerful, had completely transformed her life. It wasn't just about the physical benefits. It was the sense of accomplishment, the quiet moments of peace, and the joy of doing something for herself. As she looked around at the neighbors who had joined her walks, she realized that her journey had become a collective one. Her decision to take that first step had inspired others to take their own steps toward a healthier, more fulfilling life. Clara had unknowingly created a ripple effect, and now the whole neighborhood was walking, breathing, and living better because of one woman's commitment to herself. As the weeks turned into months, Clara's walks not only became an essential part of her daily life, but they also began to have a profound impact on her entire neighborhood. What started as a personal challenge had slowly turned into a movement. More and more people, young and old alike, began to join her in the mornings. At first, it was just a few neighbors, like Anne, who were motivated by Clara's commitment. But soon, other residents began to take notice, and the group grew larger. On weekends, the park, which was once empty and quiet, became a bustling hub of activity. Clara found herself walking alongside people who, just a few months earlier, would have never considered taking a walk. There was Emma, the young mother of two, who had been feeling overwhelmed by the demands of parenting. George, a retired teacher who hadn't walked much in years. And even Dave, a man in his 60s who had always been skeptical of exercise. Clara's walks became more than just a physical routine. They became a gathering space, a place where people could share their stories, laugh, and support one another. The mornings were filled with conversation, encouragement, and a sense of connection that extended beyond the physical benefits of walking. One particular morning, as Clara walked beside George, she noticed a change in his demeanor. He had always been a little quiet, reserved, but today he seemed different, lighter, more engaged. He caught her eye and smiled. "I never thought I'd feel this good again, Clara," he said. "I've been walking every day, and my joints don't hurt like they used to. My doctor's amazed at how much better I'm doing. But more than that, I feel like I'm not just sitting around waiting for life to pass me by. I feel like I'm living again." Clara smiled in return, grateful for the ripple effect her small change had created. She had never set out to be a leader, to start a movement, but by simply taking the first step for herself, she had created something much bigger. She had helped her neighbors reclaim their health and their sense of community, just by showing them that it was never too late to start, no matter the circumstances. As time went on, Clara began to realize something even more profound than the physical changes in her own life. Her walks had become a symbol of resilience, a reminder that age and circumstances didn't have to limit one's potential. The community had come together, not just through walking, but through shared experiences, mutual support, and the belief that they could overcome anything if they faced it together. Clara's doctor, Dr. Johnson, who had been following her progress closely, was astounded by the transformation he saw in her. At her most recent checkup, he looked over her test results with a furrowed brow before finally shaking his head in disbelief. "I don't know what to say, Clara," he admitted. "Your health has improved so much that I'm at a loss for words. Your cholesterol, blood pressure, and even your energy levels are those of someone much younger. I've been recommending walking to my patients for years, but I've never seen someone so dedicated. And look at the results. You're living proof of what a daily habit can do." Clara laughed softly, grateful for his kind words, but still humble. "I didn't do anything special, really. I just took it one step at a time. Literally." Dr. Johnson smiled. "You've certainly set an example, Clara, and not just for your health, but for your community as well. You've shown everyone that it's never too late to start, and that even the smallest change can lead to incredible results. You've sparked something here, something bigger than any medication or treatment I could ever prescribe." Clara felt a surge of pride, not for herself, but for the people around her. She had helped them see that their health wasn't something to take for granted. It was something they could actively take control of, no matter what stage of life they were in. One afternoon, Clara sat on her porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon. She reflected on the months that had passed, on the walks, the laughter, and the shared moments of growth. She thought about how much had changed, not just for her, but for everyone who had joined her on this journey. Her walks had become more than just a daily ritual. They had become a source of inspiration, a reminder that no matter how old you are, there's always room for change, always room for growth. She had found a new sense of purpose, one that she hadn't known she was missing. As she sipped her tea, Anne came over, a big smile on her face. "Clara, I've been thinking. I want to start organizing a walking group for people who are just getting started. You know, for those who are a little hesitant to take that first step. What do you think?" Clara's heart warmed at Anne's words. "That's a wonderful idea. The more, the merrier. Everyone deserves to feel the way we do now." Anne nodded eagerly. "Exactly. We've all felt the difference, and I want to help others experience it too. Maybe we can even have weekly check-ins, talk about our progress, share tips, and keep each other motivated." Clara smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. This was it. This was what her walks had turned into, a movement of connection, growth, and health. And it wasn't just about the physical benefits anymore. It was about creating a community, a place where everyone could feel supported and motivated no matter where they were in their journey. "Let's do it," Clara said with a smile. "Let's show everyone that no matter their age, they can take that first step. They can change their lives, too." And with that, the next chapter began, not just for Clara, but for everyone who had been touched by her simple, yet powerful, habit. As the months passed, Clara's walking group grew. What had begun as a small circle of friends and neighbors now turned into a full-fledged movement. Anne's idea to create a walking group for beginners proved to be a huge success. People from all walks of life, those new to exercise, those recovering from illness, and even those just looking for a sense of community, joined the group. Every morning, they gathered in the park, lacing up their sneakers and chatting as they walked. Clara had become more than just a leader. She had become a mentor. She watched with pride as the group grew, not just physically stronger, but emotionally and mentally as well. The members started looking forward to the walks, not just for the exercise, but for the camaraderie. They began sharing stories, talking about their struggles and victories, and encouraging each other to keep going. It was clear that the walks had become more than just a fitness routine. They had become a vital part of the community's fabric. One morning, Clara walked alongside George, who had once been hesitant to even join the group. Now, he was one of the most dedicated walkers. As they walked, he shared something with Clara that he had never mentioned before. "I used to be afraid of getting older," George admitted. "I thought I was running out of time. But now, I feel like I've been given a second chance. I'm living every day with purpose. These walks, they've given me something to look forward to." Clara smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "It's never too late, George. It's never too late to start something new. And it's never too late to live with purpose." The group was no longer just walking. It was transforming their lives. And Clara realized that it wasn't just about the physical changes they were experiencing, but the shift in mindset that had occurred. People who had once felt isolated, disconnected, or even hopeless were now feeling empowered, motivated, and, most importantly, connected. As the seasons changed, so did Clara. She had started her journey with one small step, not knowing where it would lead. But now, months later, she had discovered a sense of purpose that went beyond personal health. It was about making a difference in the lives of others, about being part of something bigger than herself. Clara had become more than just a neighbor. She had become a beacon of hope and inspiration. Her daily walks were no longer just for her physical well-being. They were a reflection of her determination, her resilience, and her belief that age was just a number. One afternoon, as Clara sat on a park bench, watching her walking group continue their daily routine, she was approached by a local newspaper reporter. The reporter had heard about Clara's walking group and the remarkable transformation it had inspired in the community. "Clara, would you be willing to share your story with our readers?" the reporter asked. "We've been hearing incredible things about the positive changes this group has brought to the neighborhood. I think your story could inspire others." Clara hesitated for a moment, but then smiled. She had never sought attention or fame for what she had started. She had simply wanted to improve her life and the lives of those around her. But now, seeing how far they had come, she realized that sharing her story could help others take that first step toward change. "Sure," Clara said softly. "If my story can inspire just one person to take that first step, then it's worth it." The article was published a few weeks later, and Clara was overwhelmed by the response. People from all over the city reached out to her, thanking her for sharing her journey and telling her how much her story had impacted them. Some wrote to say they had started walking, while others shared their own stories of transformation and hope. Clara's legacy had begun to spread beyond her neighborhood, touching lives in ways she hadn't imagined. Her simple habit of walking every day had grown into something much larger. A movement of people reclaiming their health, their confidence, and their sense of community. Clara continued to walk every morning just as she had from the beginning. But now, with each step, she realized that her journey had taken on a deeper meaning. It wasn't just about the physical changes. It was about the connections she had made, the lives she had touched, and the hope she had sparked in others. She often reflected on how much her life had changed since that first step. She had gone from feeling isolated and uncertain to becoming a leader, a source of inspiration, and a beloved member of her community. What had started as a simple act of self-care had blossomed into a movement of health, connection, and empowerment. As the group continued to grow, Clara's role in it evolved. She became not just a mentor, but a friend to everyone who joined the walks. She made sure to check in with each member, encouraging them to keep moving, both physically and emotionally. Her walks had become a symbol of resilience, a reminder that it was never too late to change, to grow, and to live with purpose. And so, as Clara looked back on her journey, she realized that she had not only transformed her own life, but had helped others do the same. The ripple effect of her small decision had spread far and wide, inspiring countless people to take that first step toward a healthier, more connected life. And perhaps that was the greatest gift of all. The knowledge that one simple action, one decision to take a step, could change the course of a life forever. As we come to the end of Clara's story, we are reminded of the extraordinary power of consistency and the profound impact of small, seemingly simple actions. Clara's journey began with just one step, a single decision to take control of her health and her life. And from that moment on, her determination and resilience not only transformed her own life, but it sparked a movement that reached beyond her community. This story shows us that it's never too late to start something new. No matter where we are in life, whether it's taking a walk, pursuing a passion, or simply making a change in how we live each day, the choices we make today can shape the tomorrow we wish to live. Clara's story proves that with each step, no matter how small, we can rediscover a sense of purpose, strength, and connection. Let's remember that the most powerful changes often come from the simplest actions. We all have the ability to change the course of our lives, and even the lives of those around us, by taking that first step toward something better. Thank you for joining us on Clara's inspiring journey. If her story resonated with you, we encourage you to take that first step toward your own transformation. Remember, it's never too late to start, and you are never alone in your journey. Stay motivated, stay connected, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Each step brings you closer to the life you deserve. Until next time, take care, and never forget, the best is yet to come.